hosted by AIA East Bay and with Devi Chaudhary, Chair of AIA East Bay. Together we will moderate tonight's discussion. Devi?
Hi, yeah, I'm the current board chair of the AIA East Bay. We're the local branch of the national organization, and we just support architects and architecture through education, advocacy, networking, and we try to highlight and promote design excellence through awards, speakers, and design tours. So I hope you'll join someday.
Great, thank you, Devi. We are very grateful to have gathered a group of professionals tonight from a diverse range of practices, local and small offices to large international offices, as well as firms with environmental and planning expertise. My hope tonight is that they can share their experiences, we can learn, express our frustrations and ask questions, and maybe arrive at some pathways forward during a time of uncertainty. I will introduce the panelists, then each one will have an opportunity to talk about their work and how they're navigating the quarantine and the economic collapse. Then we will open a discussion prompted by some really great questions that were submitted by student groups within the Department of Architecture and the College of Environmental Design. The participating groups are AIAS Berkeley, the CED Students of Color, the Chicano Architecture Student Association, and the Graduate Architecture Student Union. The audience may also add questions to the chat, and we will do our best to bring them forward during the discussion session. You just click on the little chat button at the bottom of the screen, and you'll be able to submit them, and we'll take a look at them as the lecture goes on. Our panelists tonight are Tim Nystrom, who's a sole practitioner with Nice Design here in the Bay Area. Devi, who I introduced earlier, of Devi Detta Architecture, a small firm with a housing focus. Janet Tam of Noli and Tam Architects. They are a medium-sized firm with a public and institutional focus. Nancy Keegan of Dolan Group. They are a large firm with a range of diverse project types. Susie Marzuola of Siegel and Strain Architects, a firm whose work focuses on sustainability and the environment. And finally, Morton Jensen of JRUB Urban International, an office that works internationally and who has a planning focus. I also wanted to thank Mike Wilson, Executive Director of AIA East Bay, for helping co-organize tonight's event. I thank you all for joining this urgent discussion, and welcome. We will begin with Tim Nystrom. Tim?
Thank you, Ronald. Appreciate it. Greetings, everyone, and good afternoon. First, I want to say congratulations to all the seniors out there and all the undergraduates that are about to embark on moving to the next chapter of their careers and their lives as professionals, and whether they go into architecture or some other avenue. I just want to say congratulations to all of you and good luck on your crits moving forward. I hope everyone's staying safe and healthy out there. Tagged here in the Bay Area, and also a young business owner. I started my business about 2.5 years ago, and not the best of times to start the business, but we're also, everyone is having challenging times. So as a young business owner, I'm also embracing the same things that everybody else is. But the most of what I do is residential work in the East Bay and now in San Francisco. Next slide. And most of that's custom homes and accessory dwelling units that are happening around the East Bay, as well as up in Napa and in the Northern Bay Area. And most of that comes from just referrals from clients and people that I've got to know in the industry. Next slide. And in addition to that, there's residential alterations and additions that make the bulk of my work from the day to day. So that really is the bread and butter of my business, and keeps me busy. Next slide. So what I really wanted to pause on for a minute is to just kind of talk to the students and how I'm navigating through this uncertain time. And it first starts with creating diversity in my professional network. And I advise everyone out there that's moving on the next chapter of their lives to do the same thing. Most of my work comes from referrals, but nowadays it's actually coming from a whole team of people that I've been working with in the industry for the past 7 to 10 years. And It's anywhere from engineers, contractors, and developers to interior designers. And most recently in this time my work's come not from just referrals and clients and marketing, but from other team members that I've gotten to know through my career. Secondly, I just wanted to kind of focus and let everybody know to focus on themselves and being able to build your brand, as well as staying focused on things of your personal goals. So in my neighborhood and even myself, trying to tackle a lot of home projects now that we've got some time at home, and all my neighbors are doing landscaping projects. So, I encourage students to do the same thing, not necessarily building your home projects, but for your own personal gain in your portfolios. And maybe it's building a website, or maybe it's honing in on design sketching skills, or learning that program that you just didn't have the time to do while you're cramming for crits. This I think is a really great opportunity to focus on yourself, those extra hours that you have that maybe you're not, being able to go to a job or being able to visit people. Just, really hone your skills and build your brand as a student, because that will really help you on the next level as you move on to, whether it's architecture that's available as you graduate, or even to the next layer in your educational background and your profession as you move forward. So just keep those things in mind. It's really about building your own brand right now and moving and helping yourself move on to the next layer. And next slide. And to do that, I've been part of the AIA East Bay for 5 years now, and I'm the chair of the Young Architects and Emerging Professionals Committee. And just want to do a quick plug, because I think there's a lot of programs out there for young architects and graduates that are coming out of school in the summertime that can really help to get you connected with professionals in the industry, so that you don't have to have just a blind leap out into the profession. Really use the AIA East Bay as a resource to connect with people that are in the industry and are making it work in these challenging times now. And so keep posted, look at our calendar. We've got a lot of events coming up that could really help you out in the future. Thanks. And Debbie, on to you. Oh, Debbie, you're muted.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah, so this is Debbie again. So I have a small 5-person firm in West Berkeley, and we actually started in 2009, 8, 9, during the last recession. I was working for other firms, but that work was drying up, and I was working on less and less interesting and less design-oriented work, even though I was at a high-end design firm. So I thought it was a good opportunity to work on my own house. I designed and general contracted our own home addition and started working on friends, coffee shops, kitchens, bathrooms, like whatever I could get. And sometimes we just do a permit set for a TI and hope for the best, and discovered there was really a need for architects at that level, where regular people who don't have big budgets, they want good design, but maybe they're not in the kind of 1% that we usually serve. So I still bring that sensibility. You can forward the slides. So we still do a lot of projects like that, just homes for regular people with limited budgets, but we can still get good design out of it. And we still do the odd kitchen and bathroom. So, I think to Tim's point, you got to stay flexible what you're willing to work on and how you find design in the most kind of mundane of projects. Keep going. So we're also doing a lot of ADUs because the state laws have changed. Keep going. And we also do smaller multifamily, like 4 to 40 unit range. So I think just trying to stay flexible in how you approach work and how you approach clients, and keeping those networks open, because it is about who's going to recommend you, and it could come from anywhere. So make sure you're talking to people and keeping your mind open. So on to the next person.
Oh, that's me. Hi, everyone. I'm Janet Tam with Nolan Tam Architects. Our practice is in Berkeley, and we are considered a medium firm practice. We have about 42 people on our staff, and we specialize in public and community and institutional projects. I think after hearing Tim and Debbie talk about starting their practices in a recession, I was sort of thinking, that actually happened to me too. Maybe it's sort of a theme here. In fact, when I graduated from graduate school, we were in the early 80s. We were going through a mild recession. Our practice started in 1991, 92, and that was sort of a mild recession. So I think, I think it's maybe about architects being very resilient and persevering whether there's a recession or not. And we can talk about that more in a minute.